Good morning. I hope you can hear me okay. It's rather windy. I'm standing on Ynyslas beach, which is probably about a 45-minute drive from my house, but somewhere I used to come to a lot when I lived in town because it's closer to town than where I live now. And it's a beautiful, beautiful beach. The tide is quite out at the moment, and just behind me you can see the town of Abu Dhabi, which is, well, it looks as if you can almost wade there. But if you drive there from here, it takes about 45 minutes around the coast. So I've only been there a couple of times in all the years I've lived here, but I remember having good scones there. But for a while, actually, one summer, there was a hovercraft service that went from town over there, and I always regret that I never did it. I think it lasted one summer and was not there again. So we're going to go for a little walk along Ynyslas beach. I hope you'll join me. Normally when I come here, I walk through the sand dunes that come out on a gorgeous beach on the other side, a long sandy beach. But I'm always tempted when I walk that way to do the complete circular walk that goes to the dunes and comes out actually at the spot that we're walking towards right now. And a combination of the time it takes and the terrain, the sand, which at the moment is a bit wet, is incredibly tiring, and I usually overdo it when I come here. So I told myself before I got here this morning that I was going to do a very short walk with you, just a little walk, just to enjoy the fresh air and the scenery, but not to overdo things. And I've arranged to meet a friend for a cup of tea afterwards, so I'm limiting how long I can stay here just so that I really don't overdo things. This is a spot that, I often have overdone things, or just too far, and regretted it for a long time afterwards. I think also it's jolly cold. I've got my woolly hat on, but it's jolly windy or breezy, and the wind is quite chilly. So it's a sort of, it was a bit like going for a quick dip in the sea, quick in and out, and then get wrapped up somewhere warm. So that's how I'm thinking about this as a trip. But it's gorgeous. It's really lovely to see it here. It just occurred to me, I think, just at the weekend that this would be a lovely spot to come and visit. I suppose I'm sort of running out of new spots to take you to close to where I live, and I suspect as these go on we should be repeating lots of the walks, perhaps looking for something different in them, perhaps not, perhaps just enjoying the sameness of them. But I was thinking at the weekend of places I enjoy visiting. I'm just going to walk around the edge of this rather muddy spot, and this is one of the places I remembered that I really liked coming to, and I did come here in the summer at least a couple of times. But in fact, on a really, really hot day, I came here. Actually, and a really wet day as well. There's a summer of differences, I think, though mostly it was very hot. And I did actually ponder for a while after the sunny visit whether I could rent a caravan here for a few days and have a complete retreat here. It actually still rather appeals. Maybe we'll do that one day. It's been a good week. I feel very excited by the developments on Patreon, and if you have supported me there on Patreon, I am very grateful. Thank you so much. And it's really interesting. I can't remember if I've said this. I might have talked about this in last week's work session. I can't quite remember whether I did or not, but I had this idea that when I launched the Patreon offering, I would have things pretty much sorted by how I saw my way ahead. But it's really interesting. Now I've started with Patreon, it feels a bit like possibilities are opening up and ideas are starting to flow, which was very exciting. this doesn't feel like a decision as much as a I don't know what. Well, an opening up. We'll just have to see what happens and what develops. I think I probably just said that in the work session last week. I apologise for repeating myself. I was bringing you here again when there's a little more energy and we can do the circular walk. It is gorgeous, and the walking along the beach just the other side of the dunes is lovely, and I suspect it feels a bit more sheltered than it does here, but this is amazing. From that spot just there, and I think, oh, I'm almost there. Almost there. And often the sand here is quite soft, so it feels like really trudging along, and I can see the car in the distance, but it feels like it's a very long way away. It takes a while to get there. It doesn't look like it's very far, but it actually does take a little while to get there, a bit like Abu Dhabi. So yes, I think it's probably wise to turn around quite quickly today. But there is just so much sky here. It's just so fantastic. I live in such a beautiful place where you can be high in the mountains and have a rugged landscape, and you can come somewhere like this and there's just sky, and it feels so flat that you can see. You can just sort of make out the mountains in the distance over there. What this place isn't, though, is a place to swim. I don't think it's possible to swim off. Well, I think it's quite shallow. Yeah, you don't see people in the water on this side. I wonder if it says on this side how to swim. Yeah, it does say don't know swimming. It makes it look like it's a very dangerous spot, doesn't it? Yeah, I definitely agree with the strong winds bit. And the tide does come in a lot as well, so what we're walking on now, different times of the day, or perhaps not quite here actually, yes, just sort of here, would be covered in water at different times. I have in the past worried that my car would be underwater by the time I got back, but I was parked right at the edge. I wonder how your week is going. Have you been for any walks? I know a few people have written and told me that they've been inspired to go for short walks. I think often it feels like a walk needs to be a big thing, and I think what I'm learning, and I think what other people are perhaps joining me in, is this idea that it's fine to go somewhere, take a really short walk and explore it and enjoy it, and then have a good rest. It seems to be this developing pattern in my week. I was very glad that last week's walk was short. I was very sorry about the visitor centre being closed, but it was good to go for a short walk last week, and I was still very tired during the week. I didn't feel like I was doing anything the next day, and I suspect tomorrow is going to be the same, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm making space within my week for that. So learning the routines and what's possible. It is nice to be exploring some places that perhaps ordinarily I wouldn't go to, and like here, I haven't been to for quite a long time. And it's nice to have arranged to meet somebody afterwards as well this week. Looking forward to that very much. just see the roof there through the dunes. That's the visitor centre here, but I suspect, I'm pretty sure it's closed this time of year. I did have a friend who worked there over the summer. 1 year, maybe more than 1 year actually. There we are, approaching where I park the car. I think I should stop. My hands are getting a little chilly. It's picking up. I should just leave you with this lovely view. And I shall see you in my studio for this week's work session. I shall look forward to that very much. Thanks for joining me today. Hello, it's time for 20 minutes of work. Are you going to join me for something? I wonder what you've got waiting to work on. I would love to hear. It's early in the morning here. It's just about getting light outside, and it's a few days since I was walking on Ynyslas. I've had a quiet week this week. I know most of my weeks are quiet. There's different levels of quiet. And this has been quite low level of quiet actually, but that's been okay. Bit up and down, but good to be able to do that. And part of the reason I'm making these videos and changing the way I'm working is so that I can pace myself when I need to, and that does feel like it's working. It feels very exciting that I'm able to hopefully do some work that feels useful to me, and I'm hoping is useful to you if you're watching and joining me on a regular basis, and at the same time set a pace that feels right. I definitely still need some tweaking around the edges, particularly around the length of walks that I take, not just the walk itself, but actually the journey to the walk. It was a big trip this week. I do love Ynyslas, but it's always a bit further. I think I said when I was recording the walk, it's always a bit further than I think it's going to be. It's through a little town called Borth, which is on the coast, and I think when I get to Borth, I'm at the beach, but I'm not. It's probably still another 10-minute drive. So, yeah, interesting. And I'm learning. I'm learning. All this is about learning, so it's fine. Welcome to my studio at the end of the week. I'm looking forward very much to getting on with a little bit of work. Let's set the timer for 20 minutes. There we go, 20 minutes on the clock. Good luck as always with whatever you're doing. And I'm working on my blanket, and actually it's changed a little bit, only a tiny bit, but in bed this morning, while I was waiting for the heater to warm up out here, I changed colour. So, let's find my hook, which is somewhere. There it is. So yes, only just made a start on the new colour, but it's been coming for a while. I keep thinking I'm going to get here, and it's taken a while to get here. So that does feel very exciting, and again I've not set myself up beforehand, so I'm all muddled up with cables and wool. If I put that over there we are. There. It's amazing just how exciting it can feel to change colour. I've been anticipating this it's been a couple of weeks since I thought I was almost there, I suspect. I don't know, I have to look back at some of these videos, but I think I've been saying for a little while that I'm almost ready to change colour, but I did this morning. I wondered if I would have to do it mid-session this morning. I didn't really want to do that, and I thought as it was warming up out here, it would be a good opportunity just to sit in bed and do the colour change. So I did that. So I'm pleased, very pleased to have done that. Oh, so how has your week been? I mean, last week I seem to remember I'd had a good rest and paced myself better in terms of when I took my walk and made the walk part of this video, and how it felt like there was a bit of space around what I was doing, so it felt easier than it had the previous week. Now this week I have had lots of rest. I mean, I have been in a bit of a routine of doing something one day and resting well the next day, but I've really needed those rests, and something I'm trying to get away from is this kind of boom and bust thing. It's very easy to do too much and then have to recover from doing too much. It's a trick that I think I can pull occasionally, but if I'm doing it a lot, then the sort of trajectory is down, and I just I'm able to do less and less. So it's something I'm trying to get away from. And whilst this week this pattern of doing and resting hasn't been the sort of extreme boom and bust that I've had at times in my life, it is still following that pattern. And what I want to try and find, as near as possible, is a way of just being, really. So that's something I need to keep pondering on. It was a little bit disheartening, I think, this week, because I think at the beginning of the week, I was quite excited about the idea of driving to Ynyslas. It's something I've been thinking of places I can go to show you, to take walks we can take together. And I've pretty much run out of the local ones, and I don't mind going on them again and again, repeating them. I think there's a lot to be said for going back and repeating and going deeper into things. But at the same time, also, it's nice to do new things, different things. So I felt quite excited when I suddenly thought, oh yes, Ynyslas, let's do that, let's go there. But it was a long drive, and on top of that as well, I'd arranged to meet a friend for a cup of tea afterwards. So yes, which was already a big thing to do. So I'm not going to say lesson learned, but I think certainly something I'm going to remember. And next week again, I shall just experiment with doing less again and just see how that goes. But I do like the pattern that seems to be emerging of going for the walk early on in the week and having some space between that and this work session. When I first started making these videos, I sort of wanted to get them done live almost, really. I don't quite know why, but I felt like because I was releasing them on a Saturday, they needed to be done on a Saturday. I think because that's the pattern I have with my podcasts. But became clear really quickly that wasn't practical. So I suppose I've been edging. The two things have been edging apart. And getting further apart, so at different ends of the week, and that, as I see, to work well. And because of the things I'm doing on Patreon, the midweek work session, and pretty much daily vlog posts as well during the week, there is a kind of quite nice level of activity. It's just the walk is the big thing in my week now. So that's the thing that I need to be careful around. And I say that I don't want any sort of boom and bust, and I do want to get away from that as much as possible. But some things obviously take more energy and therefore need more rest afterwards and before. So if I want to do a walk, then I do need to accept that there is a certain amount of recovery needed. But that's all right. I'll get there. This is an experiment on all sorts of levels. shall just see how things develop. So how has your week been? I wonder if you approach life with a certain amount of experimental attitude towards life. I mean, it's not something I feel all the time, but it's certainly at the moment this feels like a very experimental time for me. And I think it's good to think about things as an experiment, because it sort of allows for the possibility that things don't work. I mean, it's trying things and seeing, rather than hoping it's going to be the answer all the time, and almost expecting things not to work. Part of experimenting is failing, and a lot to be learnt from things not working. Like this stitch, which I seem to keep making a mistake in. Let's just try that again. There we go. One thing I have been experimenting this week with is a bit of cooking. I've been I can't remember if I've told you or not. I get a bit muddled about whether I talk about these things in these podcasts or in my new vlog posts, but I've been experimenting making bubble and squeak this week. Last Sunday, a week ago on Sunday, I made it for the first time in ages. Last week I found a cookbook in a second-hand bookshop called something like Comfort Food. I had a longer title than that, but it was full of recipes that are basically comfort food recipes, and one of the recipes was for bubble and squeak, which is such an old flavour. So yeah, I made it last Sunday, and it wasn't bad actually. It tasted good. It didn't look very good. One of the things this recipe said, which is not something we used to do at home, was to make the bubble and squeak almost like a tortilla, a Spanish omelette. I think a tortilla is the right word. Is that right? So it's a solid thing in the end, like a really thick pancake. And that's not how we did it at home. It sort of fried the potatoes. Perhaps I should take a step back in case you don't know what bubble and squeak is. Bubble and squeak is basically made of leftovers. It's mashed potato plus vegetables. So it's sort of traditionally made. Probably it might be a Monday meal after a Sunday roast or something when there's things left over, or midweek from leftovers. So traditionally it is cabbage and potato, basically, I think. So yes. So at home, what my parents used to do, my father particularly, actually, it was one of the things he would cook when I was small. He'd fry the mashed potato and the cabbage together, and it would bubble and squeak literally in the pan. And when it was doing that, you sort of knew it was ready. And parts of it would brown, and you'd sort of turn it over, and the brown bits would start to get mixed up within the potato. So you'd have this lovely sort of crispy mash, basically, and often serve it with a fried egg. This recipe in this comfort food book said to cook it so flat in a thick frying pan. So cook on a low heat, a thick frying pan, until it dries out on top. Put a plate over that, turn it over, much like you would with a tortilla, and then put it back in the pan and cook the other side. So you end up with this gorgeous, deep brown topped and bottomed, well, almost pancake shaped thing. So then you can cut into it like you would a tortilla and have slices of it. So on Sunday was the first time I tried to do it that way, and it wasn't much of a success. I think I didn't let it cook anywhere near long enough. I found that it needs about half an hour on each side. Well, certainly half an hour on the bottom side on a really low heat, and then turn over, and then cook the other side until it's solid. So yesterday I had a second attempt at it, and it was much better. I mean, the taste was still good the first time, but the sort of shape of it was much better yesterday. I was quite proud of myself. Like a major achievement, making bubble and squeak. So yes, I didn't cook it quite long enough after I turned it over. I think I should have given it longer still. I think I probably gave it about 5 minutes, and I think it probably needed 10 or even maybe 15 to be really, really crisp on both sides. I was a bit impatient. Well, I was very impatient. I was very hungry yesterday. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning yesterday, and by 9 o'clock it felt like it was lunchtime, and I wanted something very lunchish to eat. So I thought I would try this bubble and squeak. So yeah, after cooking it for more than half an hour, I just wanted to eat it. So yeah, but it would have been good to wait a bit longer. So next time I will experiment with doing it a bit longer. In fact, what I was thinking next time was I might make smaller ones. So just sort of make patties almost, so they'd be easier to manipulate in the pan, or even cook them on a griddle and see what happens. But it was really good. It was very good. Quite nice to cook with leftovers. There's something very satisfying about it, and there's something very very comforting. Well, obviously, comfort recipe. Very comforting about a nice slice of bubble and squeak. And I did do a fried egg to go with it, which was very nice. And I'd saved a little. I'd eaten most of it. I probably eaten about 3/4 of it, but I saved about 1/4 of it. And yesterday afternoon, after I had a nap, I had a slice of it, and it was cold by then, and it was really good. It was like a tortilla actually. It got much more solid as time had gone on. So I had that in the afternoon with a couple of vegetarian sausages and some pickle. So it was a good day for food yesterday, without a huge amount of effort. I mean, it was mostly leaving this to cook. I mean, I kept coming back into it because I was so impatient and wanted to check it. But now I know the timing. It'll be much easier to just leave it, go and sit down and leave it, and then come back and turn it over and then leave it again. And I do like cooking like that I can just let it do its own thing as much as possible. So, and I think at home, bubble and squeak felt like quite a quick thing. I think the way my father cooked it, it was quite a quick thing. And this recipe has turned it into something slow. So slow cooking as well as comfort cooking. And I do like that. I do like cooking that takes time. Though of course, when you're hungry, like I was yesterday, it's more difficult to be patient. But a bit of planning ahead, and it will be fine. And this morning I've got my porridge bubbling on the stove, so that's planning ahead a little bit. So once this work session's over, I can go and have my porridge, set myself up for the day. Do you have any particular comfort food favourites, I wonder? I'm really looking forward to spending more time with this recipe book and seeing what I can find. Crumpets was one thing I also tried last week. I haven't tried them again this week. It's something I've always wanted to make. I think I probably did mention that. Have I mentioned that? Anyway, I did make crumpets last week. Didn't look like crumpets, but they tasted good. But there's lots of things in this book. So I wonder if it's going to be a bit of a winter companion this year. Perhaps picking something each week and just trying it out. Lots of soups. I do like making soup. And there are some sweet things too, but there's quite a lot of savoury things in there. So there we are. It was a bit of a bargain. I think it cost me £1. I wonder if it might help set the tone for the next few months. As it gets darker and colder. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it this year. Last year's winter was rather a sad time because it's when Buster died. It's almost exactly a year since Buster died, and all the pondering that resulted from that, which is what this video has grown out of, and some other things have grown out of, or the Patreon's grown out of it. But it wasn't an easy winter or a restful winter. There was a lot of loss last year. I mean, after Buster died, I lost a couple of friends as well, and it was a hard time. And this year, I'm sort of aware of the anniversaries this year, but I'm hoping that it'll be an easier time to actually enjoy the winter, as opposed to getting through it, which is what I felt like I was doing last year. So I'm hopeful this year that it's going to be a time to enjoy. And of course I wish the same for you, if it's winter with you. But I'd love to hear if you have some comfort food favourites. My sort of go-to comfort food always used to be macaroni cheese. Or cheese souffle as well, actually. But it's rather exciting to have a book of ideas. So some things I've not even heard of. It was nice to find something that reminded me of the past. I think that's part of comfort food, isn't it? That it reminds us of another time, I think. But also, it will be nice to try some different things, make some new memories around food, perhaps. Make this a winter to look back on and to think of as comforting. I think that's a nice idea. So yes, do let me know. Do let me know if you have any particular comfort food favourites, and if you've got any recipes to link to, that would be great too. It's good to a start, or yes, a start of the new colour, which is lovely. That's good. Oh, how did you get on? I hope you've had a good 20 minutes. As always, I'd love to hear what you're working on, and as I say, I'd love to hear if you have any particular favourite comfort foods. Maybe there are stories attached to them. It's lovely to. I mean, I really like thinking about Bubble and Squeak and thinking of my father in the kitchen cooking it. Yeah, it's a very lovely memory. So take care, have a good week. Please do check out my Patreon offering. If you enjoy these work sessions, one of the offerings over there is another midweek work session, so we can do this twice in a week if you'd like to come along on a Wednesday and work alongside me. If you enjoyed the video today on your YouTube, please click on the thumbs up, and please do subscribe here if you haven't already. It's a big help having a growing number of subscribers, as well as there's plenty of thumbs up to the video as well. So if you can help that way, it would be much appreciated. If you are able to support me on Patreon, I will be very, very grateful. And I will see you in a week's time. Take care. Thanks for watching.